What's up, guys? Obviously what you're going to be seeing here, if you've already got the theme, is me and a chopper raising hell. Full disclosure, what you're obviously going to be seeing is a lot of guys that don't really know exactly what they're doing with regard to taking out the chopper as quick as possible. The whole team wasn't running stingers, it was only one or two guys. And the problem is, a lot of the time, is if you look at it and say, oh, these guys weren't exactly too sure what they're doing. And yes, for the most part, you can probably apply that to some. But once a team has a bad start, a lot of them rage quit. People that get replaced in when they join them already are, mid-match. They're not even really too sure what to expect, and then they get blasted. Then they rage quit, and then and the cycle repeats. So basically, a lot of these guys weren't really prepared for the chopper. So that's why you're going to be seeing great success. But yeah, for the most part, some of them weren't really too sure what they were doing, so I was running up a lot of kills. Next thing you're going to be seeing here is the new strategy that I like to use that gives me great success now that gunner flares have been taken out. What you saw obviously there was attack. It's a simple strategy. It's attack, retreat, and then attack again. Not rocket science, not groundbreaking by any stretch of the imagination. But a lot of people that I fly with don't use this strategy at all. Like a lot of people I know actually have been complaining quite a bit about, oh, choppers are completely useless now. What's the point of even using them? And I don't really feel anything's been changed much. Like, yes, you can't hover over an area. Use both your anti-ground or anti-air defense mechanisms. You can't basically rain hell standing in one spot. But you can still be very effective. It doesn't make sense that you can't. You just have to use your surroundings for cover, as you're going to be seeing here as I use that little hill in the background. I used the big hill behind me, and I used several other areas. You basically have to use your environment to your surroundings, and when you're being locked on, if you don't regularly have your ECM, retreat. Another key, look at this point here in this example. Use your ECM, now retreat. Now I usually fly low because, for the most part, if you're flying low and you're flying in an area that's, not really even, such as Karg Island here with a lot of mountain types, he's going to have a really difficult time keeping his line of sight locked onto you to be able to take you out. By then, hopefully, you have your ECM jam back and you can go back to raising hell. Like, as you'll see it in this will be one of my longer videos, and you'll see it in multiple different instances displayed in the video in the background. This part here is really simple. Don't be over aggressive. There you go. ECM. Now you use this little mountain structure, or these rocks, to make sure you get your ECM back before you go back out there again. A lot of people, and I think that's the big difference as to why some people don't like choppers anymore, because they don't like having to retreat all the time. They like being able to sit and hover, but you can't do that anymore. But if you don't do that anymore, you can prolong your time in the chopper and continue raising a lot of hell by using this retreat method. Another thing there I wanted to display real quick is that if a guy actually manages to get a lock on you, and he, shoots the stinger, you can still manage to actually get rid of that lock on if you deploy ECM and you make sure that stinger rocket goes through the ECM cloud. A lot of people don't know that. They assume, it's 50-50, I'm not sure why my ECM didn't deter the rocket that was going toward me. And to answer that question real quick, a lot of the time, you have to make sure it goes through the ECM cloud or it will not deter the rocket. So make sure you try to deploy your ECM if the rocket's chasing you, close to when it's going to hit you. Because that way it'll go through the crowd or to get deterred and you buy yourself some time. For the most part though, make sure you just try not to let that happen. Because even though I've noticed sometimes that it'll pass through the ECM cloud and it'll still hit me. So obviously, best defense mechanism you could possibly have is to not have it happen at all. So make sure you try not to get any lock onto you at all. I still prefer using them over flares. I know some people have switched to flares instead of ECM since gunner flares were taken out. I still personally don't, because any CITV station in the tank or anyone using with the Softlim Javelin combination, flares don't do anything for you. Doesn't make sense that way. Stick with ECM to break the lock on, make sure you can retreat and get away, and use your environment. You're going to be see those silos you saw in the back? If you continue to watch the video throughout, you're going to be seeing multiple examples where I use them to break line of sight lock-ons, and in a couple instances break a rocket that happened to be, well, tracking me. That's basically the key. You don't want anything locking onto you, and you have to play more patient. Choppers themselves haven't really changed a ton, because think of it, you've only taken gunner flares out. A good pilot that's situationally aware and knows how to get away from certain circumstances, is skilled enough to do so, is still going to have great success. Removing one gunner flare out of the whole game is not going to make choppers completely useless. It's just going to make the people that don't really know their situational awareness less effective. That's basically all with regard to it. See, you'll use these silos, or these oil containers. I don't even know what to call them. And there it goes. And if you, in this case here, you're going to be seeing, if you fly low in a lot of instances, taking air radar or below radar out, I felt was a little bit of a hit, because that's one I'm sort of 50-50 about, because taking air radar out, I've still had success without it. It's fine, but for the most part, I just feel it punishes the skilled pilots. If you're skilled enough to regularly fly low and keep yourself below the radar, I don't feel you should be punished with it. If you can perfectly take advantage of it, then I feel you should be able to, but DICE feels otherwise. But I've always told everyone I know the mark of a good player is being able to adjust to changes that are presented to you. I mean, it doesn't mean that if a game over nerfs something, or if it's just not a good change, that you should accept it, because it won't be good, won't be fun. But at the same time, being able to make adjustments is key. To just regularly complain about it doesn't make a lot of sense, because this Battlefield's changed a ton several different times since its release date last year. And the great players were the ones that were able to adjust every time it's changed. This part here is actually kind of funny, just getting a little sidetracked. I think this guy knew he bit a bit more off than he could chew as pilot, so he basically gave me the pilot seat. So we go back, we take care of business again. Some of these guys rage quit, so they weren't ready for the chopper, and that's why you don't see a lot of lock-ons. That's pretty much everything I really had to say. With regard to this, you're going to be seeing lots of what I was telling you before. To sum up, without gunner flares, what you have to do is use your environment to your surroundings. A lot of this is for any experienced chopper pilot. This isn't anything new. There's a good chance you probably already knew this. But for those that aren't, this is probably helpful information. Make sure you attack and retreat, attack and retreat. That's the key. Be patient. Don't try to go for those extra 2 or 3 kills and have another stinger rock you, and then that's it. And see here, use your environment. Knowing that the stinger has to pass over that rock to hit you, and it can't, it hits the rock, ECM recovers, make sure you don't go back into the fray before you have your countermeasures back, and it'll prolong your time. That's basically the quick little tips I have. Enjoy the rest of it. For the most part, it's pretty entertaining, but which is really weird, because we actually lose this game. Using those rocks again. We actually lose this game, but I felt the piloting in this was a good teaching resource for those that could probably use the information. So enjoy this video, and I'll see you later.
Charge has been set. I've spotted an enemy air landing in the area. The enemy has defused the charge. We got some AT soldiers in the AO. Okay, that is solid copy. I do have a tank in the area. I've got eyes on MAV, over. Alright, I got eyes on an enemy sniper.